It didn't work. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stony Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. It's another beautiful hot day here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, and we're going to be working in the shop today. We're going to be building a welding table. So what we're going to do today is customize this table to our needs. We've got a big old sheet of steel. We've got all kinds of fun stuff to come today, so come along as we customize and build ourselves an awesome mobile welding table for the shop. All right? Woo!
I ain't afraid of work. I ain't afraid of play. I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way.
It is a scorcher out here today, guys. So let's talk about the materials that we have and what we're going to be doing today. This is the welding table frame. I've already assembled it. That's kind of boring. You really don't need to see all that. What we're going to be doing, you could install a caster with a bolt through it right there, but we want to go a little bit more heavy duty, so we got these heavy duty greasable casters, and we're going to be welding them onto this bottom plate right here. So you're going to get to see whether my welding skills are up to par or not, and whether this little MiG 135 is going to handle this heavy duty thick steel. So that's some really, really thick steel. Now outside here we have on the skid loader a piece of custom cut 3/8 inch steel. That's a big old piece of steel plate. And that's right out here. There's no way I can pick that thing up on my own. I don't think 3 people could pick that up, but that's what's going to be our tabletop. So we're going to put that on, and we're also going to weld it in place to the frame, and we'll have an awesome welding table. So follow us as we do this. It's going to be good. So the way this is going to go basically is just mounted right up against that. I've got some clamps, and we'll clamp to it, and we're going to grind off the paint all the way around this entire area right here first, and then we'll set this guy on. It's a little bit bigger than the foot, and we'll weld around the perimeter. Hopefully that will make it super duper tough. Now, one thing we have to consider as we're welding this is there is a ball bearing set up in here, so we don't want it to get too hot. So what we'll probably do is set it up there, weld a little bit, then go to the next one, weld a little bit, go to the next one, so that we don't overheat our bearings and burn up all this grease. I have a sneaking suspicion we're still going to be burning some grease in this video. So what we're going to be using to grind this stuff off is an extra coarse Norton 20X grinding pad, okay? So this is like a paint stripping type pad. We didn't want to use a grinder on it because I didn't want to misshapen anything. Want to make a nice neat job, clean it up good. So here goes. Safety goggles in place. Nice, that looks great. You can see our surface is prepped all the way around. Now we'll get our wheel on, and we will clamp it in place. We also want to do a little bit of prep work on each one of these casters. We want to make sure that we're all stripped clean right here. This galvanized material needs to come off. Cool. Now we can weld metal on metal. So as with any shop project like this, you have to have a certain little level of flexibility in what you're planning to do. So what we're planning here may change as time goes on. Hopefully what we're planning is the right thing and it's all done right. This is a small welder that I bought for doing restoration on the old Bronco, but we ended up not hanging on to the Bronco. This is a Eastwood MiG 135. It's supposed to be able to weld this, and it's supposed to be able to weld sheet metal like a charm, like a dream. Let's give it a shot. A little eyeball action going on here. There we go. Something like this, you can just eyeball it. Sure, vice grips are nice and snug. Everything's good. We're gonna shoot a bead of weld right across here. Now, if you guys follow the channel, you know I'm a bit of a toolophile. So we've got a welding helmet from Eastwood down there. Good stuff. I'll reach out to those guys. I've reached out already to see if they want to give us a discount code. If there is one, it'll be posted down in the video description. So this is a large view auto darkening helmet. We're gonna put her to use. Cool. It's pretty. Let's get it dirty. Don't judge me on this first weld. I'll get better. Well, it wasn't quite as horrible as it sounded anyway. Tripped a breaker. We're getting there. Looks like a 6-year-old welded it. I hoped I'd get better on the welding, but it seems I'm getting worse. Let me show you the diagram on the back of the welder real quick so you can understand the adjustments that I have to make. So this is the MIG 135 from Eastwood. This is the arc or the temperature, and this is the wire speed. So I've got it on about 6.2 on the wire speed and over J on the temperature. Now there's a meter, a gauge right here, and we are shooting in the 3/16 range-ish. So it really has no diagram for that. So it should be at J 5.5 for a little bit thinner than what we have, a 2.5 millimeter. So that's what we have here, and this is the different types of wire that this machine will take, and the flux core. We don't want to use the flux core. That's it. That's how it works. That's how everything's inside. Pretty simple little mechanism. All you pro welding guys, let me know. So I've got CO2/argon gas down here, 25% CO2, 75% argon gas, and I'm running it at about 20 pounds. And we're gonna slow the wire speed down and turn the heat down a little bit and see if that helps. I think it might help. That sounds a lot better. Wow. So I'm pretty sure that the dog could have welded that better than me, but this table comes with rubber pieces right here, and we don't need those rubber pieces. All 4 corners have a little rubber piece in there in case you want to put wood as a top on this, but this is going to be a fire hazard for what we're doing, so we're going to get rid of those little caps. And this is 2-inch square stock. Heavy duty stuff. So I've come to the determination that my welder is not going to be powerful enough to weld 3/8 inch steel. So what we're going to do is we're going to tack it on here, and I got to get a bigger welder or borrow a bigger welder from a friend. So we're going to go ahead and strip paint once again from the frame here and get prepared to put our steel table on. And I've got my helper, William, standing by over here chowing down on some Subway. Should be fun. This tabletop, I'm gonna say weighs 500 pounds or so, something like that. It's about a little over 6 foot by a little over 3 foot. And this is a 6x3 table here. We want it to overlap just a little bit. That way we've got something to hook vices to and clamps and stuff like that. So we're gonna weld along the inner side here, 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 and here. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the Bobcat. It's got pallet forks, extension pallet forks on the bucket, and we're gonna lift it up, and we're gonna bring that big piece of metal in here and put it right on top of this table. And William here is standing by for help. This thing is hot, man. It's at least 190, 200 degrees. It's probably boiling hot. You could probably boil water on this. And what we've got to do is use that gut lever again. As William pushes the frame toward me, I'm going to use my gut to... Nah, it's not going to work. We're going to have to wait for this thing to cool down. It's too hot to touch. It didn't work. It's cooking, I swear. It's over easy. I thought it was hotter than that. Didn't you think it was hotter than that?
It was hot.
Do you think it would have cooked an egg?
I'm wearing gloves for a reason.
Honey, do you think it would have cooked an egg?
Anything's possible.
It didn't work. This is gonna help with the patina. As always, cleanup is the hardest part of any job. This is the biggest egg that we had on the farm. Yeah, it's gonna help with the patina, I'm certain. So we're gonna finagle this thing for a little bit. We're gonna get it centered and then we're gonna tack it in place. It's gonna be a great table. Look at this thing. Stout, baby. So we've got the table top all in place and that bird poop is gone now. What we're gonna do, and it rolls around great, we've got this little brick. This little brick is beeswax from our honeybees. So we're gonna set this guy out in the heat. We're gonna sand him down first. We're gonna set it out in the heat and we're gonna coat it with beeswax. First, we've got to weld the table. We're just gonna tack it in place right here and weld it down to the frame. Let's get underneath the table here. Basically, we're just gonna tack up in 3 places on each side of this beam and then on each individual side right here. We're just gonna tack it on and then we'll come back later on with a bigger welder, or we may bolt it in place. I stand totally corrected. This is enough welder, definitely, to handle this 3/8 stock. Maybe it's just a paint situation with welding the feet on that was causing me the issue, but this is kicking butt, man. Awesome. I don't need a bigger welder. This is gonna do it. We're gonna take this grinding wheel, same one that we used earlier to clean all of the paint off of the feet, and we're gonna clean this whole area up real quick and then we'll hit it with the beeswax. We're gonna let it sit out in the sun and hit it with the beeswax. I'm curious as to what kind of finish this thing is going to leave on here, but it's definitely gonna have its own unique Stony Ridge patina. The reason we're going to all this trouble is so that when we get done, we have something that we can be very proud of. So I think this is gonna make an awesome, awesome beater welder table. Pretty cool. I'm gonna hit it with some vinegar and see what it does. I'm not sure what this is gonna do, but we're gonna take a lint-free rag and we're gonna put some apple cider vinegar on here. Let's just pour a little bit on there and see what happens. May just clean it good. Looks like it's getting a good shine to it anyway. May make it rust. I don't know. So here's what's coming off of it. I think it's just gonna clean it good. So we've done the vinegar. We're gonna do a little bit of goof off to take off any more residue that might be on here. And then I think we'll be good to go to hit it with some beeswax. I wanna be proud of this table. Many, many more videos will be shot with this table. Now, whether I can get it back in the shop, that's another story. Let it sit out here and bake in the sun while we let the beeswax melt its way on there. Got a nice pretty block of beeswax from our own honeybees right here. In the interest of time, I got a heat gun out and we're gonna heat these up and melt them in place. It's gonna be a beautiful finish. So the final step is to get the excess wax off with this big old scraper right here, and then we're gonna buff it. Now the buffing wheel we're gonna use is just a standard automotive buffing wheel that hooks to a grinder. Pretty simple, pretty easy to use. We're just gonna buff it up to a pretty shine. Well guys, what do you think? We got us a nice welding table for the shop, a nice beater table, a nice table to do presentations for you guys for Tool Tuesday. I'm super duper happy with the results. I've got one more thing I want to show you. It's the vise that we're going to restore and mount to this table. Let me go grab it. This is the whole reason we're building this table. So we can do an awesome restoration on this old vise. for you guys. I cannot wait. We pulled that out of a barn buried up in the dirt. Super cool, guys. Thanks a lot for coming today to the Stony Ridge Farm. I hope you enjoyed us building this welding table. I hope it gave you some ideas if you want to build a nice working welding table for your shop. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next time. If you have any questions, post them down there. If you want to know any of the specs, we'll set you right up. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on the Stony Ridge. All right?
Well, come on down to the Stony Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life here in